Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
And my name is James, and here we talk about all things Star Wars. I love saying that. But before we get started about all things Star Wars, we have some patrons to thank. So let's go ahead and do that.
Definitely. Thank you for all the awesome support for the whole year of 2024 and beyond. Darth Ace 1, Liam McCallan, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leninger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Makatao Tala, Adam Haber, Brad Mackey, Front Row King, Darth Beard, Indiana Solo, and Mariana Atia Arnold. Thank you so much for the awesome love and support out there. And yes, if you do go to legionsabers.com, use the code STUFF at checkout, you get 15% off. So any late Christmas gifts, check them out. But yeah, this is our year-end show where we're going to wrap up 2024. And what a year it was, James. How was your 2024?
I was like, wait, why did you? This was like 2024 was the longest year, also the shortest year, because it felt like Christmas came really, really quick. But at the same time, things that I thought happened last year were actually just in like March. I'm like, oh, that's when that happened. But what about you? How was your 2024?
It was startling how fast Christmas came and went, man. It's a little depressing. But as you all do know, I work a second job. I deliver pizza on the side to help out with some podcast related stuff sometimes. So I think that causes time to go by really fast. And then, of course, we do this on the side as well. But as far as 2024 goes, I mean, it wasn't a celebration year. We took a little bit of time off, even though some really big Star Wars shows did drop. We had the Bad Batch, the finale. We had, of course, the live action shows, The Acolyte. And of course, we had Skeleton Crew, which is still ongoing, which we'll do a pre-show, post-show on Tuesday. And yeah, it was an interesting year because we got that. And of course, we got the discourse primarily around the Acolyte and just kind of the interesting pop culture zeitgeisty reactions to what we were given via that live action show, and how different I think it was from what we were told it was going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as 2024 goes for Star Wars, I think it's really going to be remembered for Skeleton Crew. I think that show's been received quite well.
Yeah.
There might be some spin-offs from that show. We might get Jude Law in a film. We might get him in his own series, do a prequel type thing, possibly. The kids, of course, are going to get older. They're going to grow. Might have them in something. But yeah, I mean, as far as Star Wars goes, I mean, Phantom Menace 25th year anniversary. That's a big milestone. Makes us all feel old. But of course, a lot of Phantom Menace stuff out there to still kind of buy and look at, and I'm glad that it's aging probably better than fine wine at this point.
It's so crazy how the more time that passes, the more people look at the prequels as genius on George Lucas's part because of what we have been given since then. I mean, not with Star Wars, but with movies in general. When you do prequels, when you do sequels, when you do anything like that, the prequels, as time is passing, people are like, "Oh my gosh!" Like the genius of George Lucas to tell the story the way he did, and to start with the Phantom Menace with a blockade, which we're like, "This isn't Star Wars. What is tariffs and trade routes have to do with Star Wars?" And then you look at it, you're like, "That was pretty interesting." To show that it was political, that it was there was other things happening in the galaxy, which leads us to the original trilogy. And yeah, I went and I rewatched episode 1 this year, or yeah, this year. I was about to say last year, but this year, and it just shocked me at how great that movie still is. And it's just it holds as like you, it holds a special place in my heart because that was that Star Wars movie where we were like, oh my gosh, Star Wars is back. We're getting Star Wars again. And yeah, so it's crazy, 25 years, and you're right, it makes me feel really old.
Yeah, it was awesome when we were in Chicago at Star Wars Celebration in 2019, and we got the 20th anniversary celebration there, and we got to see Ahmed Best. Got to see the trailer back on the big screen.
So
Got a lot of new merch. You got a really cool jacket that I wasn't able to get.
I bought a lot of merch that I shouldn't have bought.
Yeah, I'm really glad it was celebrated as much as it was, and it's my favorite prequel, like I've said before. And James has a ship that he's flying around that's Darth Maul's ship that's very similar to the Vader configuration and the N1 Starfighter, which I still haven't purchased yet for some reason. I don't know. Yeah. I see it at Walmart all the time when I go.
I keep them right here on my desk. And no joke, they are right on my desk at all times. And if I'm doing something, I'll just pick them up and have fun because. And then I also have a little Sith, all episode 1 stuff. See, like it's all that movie just stuck with me all these years. I mean, I do love Revenge of the Sith. I do love Attack of the Clones, but Phantom Menace has just that special place in my heart, and it was really great to revisit it again this past year. And when I went to go see it in theaters, people were clapping, people were cheering, and I'm like, this is so cool, man! Like this is so great to be experiencing this again.
Yeah, I got sick, man. I couldn't go. I wasn't able to go, and I had other things that I had to do that weekend, and I bought tickets for it. Just wasn't able to go, but
that makes me sad.
Yeah, the new poster by that one artist, I believe his last name is Ferguson. He's made some really cool theater posters for different franchises. Tried to get him on the show, but wasn't able to get in direct contact with him. But
do you think he's working on an episode 3?
Yeah, most definitely.
20th anniversary.
Yeah.
That is wild. That next year we're going to be celebrating 2 milestones, which is episode 3, 20th anniversary, and I know at the end of our show we're going to do what we're looking forward to, but I didn't mean to spoil that. But yeah, the episode 1 re-release was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. And Bad Batch finale, which we mentioned, was great. That show was. I don't that was like a slow burn for a lot of people, that show, and it just each season got better, which is really difficult even for live action shows to do. Bad Batch pulled that off with some voodoo magic that they got better each season.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because when we got that cliffhanger with Tech falling, I think a lot of us thought he would be back.
Yeah.
But in fact, yes, spoilers for Bad Batch season 3. It was season 3, right? For season 2.
I think it was season.
You don't even remember.
I just remember the finale of Bad Batch this year, and I was really sad because that jump forward in time, seeing Omega grown up, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm sad because it's a chapter ending, but also a chapter beginning for Omega's story, and I was like, this is so good.
Yeah. I thought Tech was going to come back. He was one of my favorite clones, but and a lot of people this year did some crazy Tech cosplay. We went to several conventions, and it was incredible. There's a guy at Rebel Scum Con, and I want to say, what month was Rebel Scum Con? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
I believe September. I know it was before Space Con, which we'll talk about.
August or September.
Yeah, I mean, he had an incredible Tech cosplay, but pieces were like slowly falling off of him as he was walking through the con. And I was like, hey, let's get a picture. And he's like, yeah, for sure. And the stuff just started like falling off of him. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And I've contemplated putting a Tech cosplay together, but I just don't have the time, the money. You
should still do
patience.
Just do it.
I should just do it. Every time. Okay, so everyone listening, watching this, every time I bring up something to James or Colin, the reaction is, do it.
It's funny.
I'm like, guys, I'm spitballing here.
I know you guys want me to do Ezra cosplay, but
we want to do something, James. And it's like, come on, man.
I know. I'm getting too old to be doing stuff.
Nah.
I just mess it. It's funny if you look at the videos from us back in 2018, and then now you see I have a lot more gray in my beard, and it's just slowly slowly getting older. But yeah. So another thing that happened in 2024 was we got a great documentary about John Williams, and it was awesome. It was everything I wanted it to be, and it's just a great look at the life of the goat. I mean, he's probably literally the greatest of all time, and just the movies and how the sound is in each movie and what he did for Star Wars. Like, he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, he could have been like, "Oh, okay, this is just a fun little science fiction movie made by the director of American Graffiti. Okay, we'll see what we can do." And he just gave us one of the, I think it's some consider the greatest score of all time, which is the Star Wars A New Hope score. Um, so that documentary was fantastic, and I'm glad we got it this year. Did you watch all of that?
Yeah, I saw it, I think 3 times. When I
Oh,
was a
nice.
kid even, when I heard the music and I could distinguish it, and I would hear other film scores, and I'm like, "Why doesn't this sound as good as what Star Wars does?" Like, even as a kid, I could
You could
distinguish all
tell.
that, and
Yeah.
it's an incredible thing, man. It's like it's almost to the point, I don't know if you've experienced this, when you listen to it, it almost sounds like it's not even instruments. You know, you can't like automatically identify it, the instruments that are being, I mean, you know, it's like violins, it's French horns, it's trombones,
Yeah.
it's trumpets, it's the harp, but it's just that thing where it just bleeds into your subconscious, and you
Yeah.
don't listen to it as if it's music. It's just it's
It's
like
it's
an
part of
addition to the story, and
yeah.
it's very subconscious to me.
That I know that's not Star Wars, it's Lord of the Rings, but, for the Battle of Helm's Deep, Andrew Leslie, right? That was his name?
Yeah,
The
Andrew
he
Leslie,
passed
the
he passed
DP.
away, the DP
Yeah.
of, Lord of the Rings. For the Battle of Helm's Deep, he had lights shining so you could see what was happening, and somebody asked him, "What's the source of the light?" Because when you're a DP, you have to have, like, if you do a room, you have to be able to show that they're, "Oh, these are the lights coming down." It's not just a random light. And they're like, "What's the light source for all of this? Because this is at night and there's no torches, there's nothing." And he was like, "The light is coming from where the music's coming from." And I said, "That is the
Whoa.
greatest answer I've ever heard a DP ever say, which is, it's there in the background. You're not even thinking about it. Just watch it, just experience it." And that's how I feel about what you said with Star Wars, where John Williams' music is just, it's just there. It's a part of it. It's like ingrained in the movie and within the lore of Star Wars. And the fact he did all 9 movies, he didn't have to do all 9, but he was like, "I have to do this." Like, he even said he didn't do some of the other sequels that he had, done the first one for, but with Star Wars, he felt he had almost like an obligation to be like, "I have to finish the story." Has to have that continuity from the beginning and the end. And judge the sequel trilogy all you want. I personally love it. David loves it. But the music in the sequel trilogy was just as amazing as the original and the prequels. I mean, he gave us 3 new scores that are just incredible. So it's pretty great. The life of John Williams, and I'm really glad that music is a part of Star Wars.
Yeah, man, just incredible career, incredible life. He's still with us. He still plays the Hollywood Bowl.
Which is
And
right down the road. I gotta go see him. He's gonna be here next year, I think, at the Walt Disney
yeah,
Hall there downtown. And Adam, our patron, he actually messaged me. He was like, "Are you gonna go? Because he might go."
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh wow, okay." So we might. I might actually meet Adam up there, and we might go see it. So that'd be a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah, just incredible music that's gonna live forever.
Oh
And
yeah,
he's very, very active, has a very active lifestyle. He's keeping in shape for his age, and you can clearly see that in the documentary. He loves to golf.
yep,
So he's not the average 90-year-old guy. So yeah, he's out there, man. And
yeah,
yeah, I wish I could go to a Hollywood Bowl concert and check all that out and be in the crowd and probably just be crying
yeah. Like I
like a
did in
baby.
2017 when I saw him in
Yeah,
the.
that's the other incredible thing. So James and I have seen John Williams in the flesh conduct, and yeah, that was on the bucket list that we didn't know was on our
I
bucket
didn't. Yeah,
list.
that was on a bucket list. That yeah, I never knew that would actually ever happen. And to hear him quiet the crowd down and to hear the bump, the theme. I was like,
see,
oh.
and this is why I think the 50th anniversary for Star Wars is going to be in Anaheim, because they're going to want John Williams to be there.
Yes.
And at that point, who knows how much he can travel, but
yeah,
he lives in that area, and so do a lot of Star Wars celebrities. And it feels like they're going to march out everyone that's living on that stage.
You have to for
Yeah.
this moment, because 50 years of Star Wars, like,
yeah,
that's insane. Jeez.
yeah, we're almost there. It'll be 2027.
Yeah, and Batman
almost
comes out
there.
almost there. But yeah, it would be great to see John Williams there. Another thing that happened. Oh, and plus we have this amazing picture Lucasfilm put out for
Yes.
2024. As you can see, we got the announcement, of course, of Mando and Grogu. We got the John Williams documentary, the episode 1 re-release. Outlaws, which I didn't play because I'm nervous about playing video games, because if I start playing a video game, nothing else matters. Like nobody, like when I did Jedi Survivor, I literally played it from Friday morning all the way until Monday afternoon.
Wow.
Just not, my eyes were like red. I mean, I was a mess. So I didn't play Outlaws, but I heard some people say they really liked it. I've also heard others say it didn't quite have it didn't live up to the potential that it could have. So I think the jury is still out on there. I think we're still getting updates on a few things with that game. But yeah, Outlaws came out, which was the first pretty much open world. I mean, Jedi Survivor was kind of the same way, but open world story and canon, of course.
Yeah, it
so
took
that's
place
great.
between Empire and Return of the Jedi. We got introduced to 2 main new characters. A female, I guess, bounty hunter, and her companion, Nyx, the alien, as you can see in the picture here.
And yeah, so it's great that Star Wars still has video games coming out. And of course, I'm just waiting for the next Jedi, for the Jedi trilogy, because we can't call it Jedi Fallen Order because it's just the Jedi trilogy. What the third game is going to be. Really looking forward to that one. We also got the Lego Star Wars Lego movie. What was it, Rebuild the Galaxy?
Yeah, Darth Jar Jar.
We got Darth Jar Jar, which Ahmed Best came back and reprised his voice. Mark Hamill came back and reprised his voice as Luke Skywalker. And I think Kelly Marie Tran came back for Rose, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. It was fun. It's an entertaining, and those are just fun little movies for for kids. And even as me as an adult, I was like, oh, this is great. This is cute. This is fun to watch. I watched it, I think, the day it came out, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah,
and then of
Lego
course,
released a black Millennium Falcon.
Yes, they did. I
wild.
know a few people who got it and they put it together, and I'm like, geez, that's something incredible. I haven't. I have a. I think I am beginning to get into Legos, which is weird to say at the age of 36. I'm like, maybe this is gonna happen. Maybe this Lego thing might take off for me. So, because I just got a Lego set for Christmas this year, and it's the Ahsoka. It has Ezra. Well, my wife got for me because it has Ezra, and of course, people say I look like Ezra. I can't see it, but anyways, just kidding. And then, but yeah, he saw it right away, which is great. But yeah, so yeah, I was really glad that the Lego thing came out, and then also we have gotten Skeleton Crew, which is still going. And from all accounts, it is loved. Everybody is loving the show. Everybody is loving the mystery of it, the intrigue of it, how the story is progressing, how the kids are doing. Jude Law's character, some people say, is one of the best characters Star Wars has written in years, because
Jude Law's acting.
Yeah, Jude Law it's Jude Law. Come on, he's great. He's great. I just watched The Holiday because it was Christmas, and he was all looking like the most Jude Law you've ever seen was that movie. So just kidding. What else?
We need to talk about The Acolyte.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but one movie that's the one thing that Star Wars did not put on their logo was The Acolyte, which is crazy. And I heard something from a source. I'm not going to tell you who. I don't know if I told you this, David. I spoke to him at SpaceCon about how somebody somewhere in the Lucasfilm area is wanting to uncanonize the Acolyte.
See, I don't know how true that really
I don't
is.
know
I
how true,
mean,
and the part of me is like, why would they tell this? He's great. He knows people there, but it was like, why would he know that? But
so
yeah,
he told you that
yeah.
because he told me that too, and I didn't think he told anyone else that.
No, no, he told. Well, he remembered me from the year before. He looked at me.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
was like, "Hey, I remember you," and I was like, "Yeah, we talked, and your wife was really funny, and yeah, we just had a whole conversation about this." And then out of nowhere, he was like, "Yeah, I've been hearing that somebody wants to decanonize the Acolyte because of how much they didn't like it." And I was like, "What?" And then seeing this now, a couple of months later, after hearing that, is like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, Lucasfilm does not want anybody to remember the Acolyte." Oh, Noah's watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, Noah. How we doing, boys? The 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace back in May and Skeleton Crew thus far have been made for an absolutely wizard year, and I agree. We were just talking about the Phantom Menace, and yeah, the Skeleton Crew is just kind of the cherry on top for the year because it's great. It's such a good show, and I'm loving it, and I agree. But yeah, the Acolyte kind of being shunned by Lucasfilm is very crazy because they haven't done this really since Solo, where they just kind of want you to forget the project, even though I think Solo is one of the more fun Star Wars movies we have. It's just a fun adventure story. Um, but yeah, the Acolyte hate just was wild. That was something else that, like David said, we haven't
Yeah,
really
I don't.
experienced.
Yeah, to me, I really didn't get it. I mean, it was something different, and it was a prequel to Episode One, and we explored new new groups, new planets, new ways of thinking, a new story that we've never seen before.
Yeah,
Jedi that had a lot of. They weren't the typical Jedi that we're used to as far as like even the Phantom Menace, like I guess Qui Gon was the only guy that we really saw that was really brought to light that had any type of like fallacy in him. But it seemed like a lot of these Jedi in the Acolyte had issues. They weren't very Jedi like, and a lot of people didn't like that. I like that.
I loved it.
I like to see all the different personalities and characterizations of all the different Jedi and all their different experiences and how they interacted with each other. I thought that was wonderful. I wish we got more of that. And then, of course, Manny Jacinto, he knocked it out of the park with that character.
Just
So
great.
nuanced. No one really knew like what he was going to bring to the table, but he brought a lot to the table. And I feel bad for him, especially because there's not going to be season 2. But that's not to say Lucasfilm is not going to do something with him in the future. Maybe with Darth Plagueis. I mean, that's a possibility. So, and of course, we got Darth Plagueis at the end for like 8 seconds or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was something else, and I enjoyed the story where the story was going. I like that we explored different cultures. Even Andor
Yeah.
explored, different cultures in Star Wars, and then this one, they did something which I never thought they would ever do, which is to show another sect of people who understand what we know as the Force, but they call
Mm-hmm.
it the Thread. And that was crazy to hear the backlash. People were like, they're going to change the name of the Force to the Thread. I was like, no, that's what
Yeah.
they see it as. Like I don't want to get religious here, but you have some people who, Muhammad is God or God is, God or
Right.
all
Right.
these other,
It's a
like
mirror. It's a mirror to our reality.
and I loved that. I thought that was so
Yeah.
cool. And I was so excited. And then the backlash online, I was like, were y'all even watching the show? Like, were you even paying attention to what they were saying? It's never mind. And then yeah, the fact that the Jedi were very flawed and very had a lot of and looked like they were hiding things from people. What's her name is like, no, we're not going to report that to the council yet. And you're like, oh, okay, you're a little suspicious here.
Yeah.
Um,
Ernest Rowe.
yeah, I thought that was so great because it just made so much sense leading up to Phantom Menace, and then of course you got to remember that the Jedi failed. They ultimately got defeated pretty badly, and they didn't even notice it was happening right under their noses. And I think that was a great thing the show showed us was how flawed they were to make it make sense that they ultimately were defeated, in Revenge of the Sith, and then of course we got the New Hope and everything. But I thought it was really, really great. And like you said, Manny Jacinto just gave one of the best performances I've seen in Star Wars. I mean, he top 10 maybe. I mean, there's a lot of great performances in Star Wars, and he gave a really good one. Gave us a villain that we weren't expecting, and a villain that was very complex and very and like you say, you're like, what is he doing? Like what's going on with him? And he's very mysterious of how he operates. And plus the lightsaber fights were so good. And I'm like, how come no one's talking about how great those lightsaber fights were? Because
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was I wasn't expecting that from the show. I mean, I was
yeah.
hoping for it, but when we got it, I said, yes, this is great. This is great.
And also the use of cortosis in live action.
Yeah.
That was very inventive and made people look back through all the archives of what is this thing like a thing that we just like never
Yeah.
learned about? Was it never popularized? But yeah, it was something in the past that was talked about that would short out lightsabers, and
So
they
cool.
used it to great effect, but it just got overshadowed by people. I think that this just wanted to like dog the series, and it was unfortunate. But
Even before the show came out, it was already doomed. Like the ratings online were already so bad even before the first episode aired. That should have been a big kind of red flag for people to be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't listen to some of the critics. We should just watch it because some people haven't even seen it and they're already bad mouthing the show. So
yeah. And to
yeah,
me, that school of thought is there's no main characters that we know from the past. There's no
yeah,
Skywalkers. There's nothing out there that really connects us. We all figured that Yoda would show up, and of course he showed up for barely any time at all, and it was towards the end. But there was nothing hyping people up, so to speak. I think
yeah.
Lucasfilm thought, oh, this is centered around Jedi and Sith. People are going to tune in. That wasn't enough. So I think this is going to serve as something going forward.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm was trying out a lot of stuff, and for
Star
the
Wars stuff.
Jedi and Sith roles, I think they really need to figure out that they need to get people in there that are established. A Darth Plagueis series would have got the eyeballs. I'm not sure if it would have changed the tide and people not liking stuff, but I mean, it's all kind of right there. We talk about on the show all the time, all the slam dunks that they can do. Young Palpatine, Plagueis. You could do Plagueis's rise to what he became with his master Tenebrous. I mean, there's a lot of different
There's so
stuff they can
much.
do. Yeah,
And it's really wild how much they haven't done with Star Wars.
it is. I'm glad you said that. It is really wild.
It's and then, we found out this year what the original plans were for Obi-Wan Kenobi for the trilogy, and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. Why did we not go with what we thought what they had originally?" And, we'll
Right.
do a whole other show on that. But, um, it is rather strange how there's so many, like David said, slam dunks that they're not giving us with Star Wars. It's like they're afraid, and it's so strange why they're afraid. It doesn't make any sense. And which takes me back to George Lucas doing what he did with the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, where he didn't care what anybody thought. He said, "This is the story, and I'm going to tell you how I think it, how I
Right.
want it to be told. This is the Star Wars story that is in the Bible, quote unquote, pretty much."
Hmm.
And he didn't care what anybody thought, and he made those movies, and they were great. Phantom Menace is still just a great movie, and I don't know. I say all that to say I wish Lucasfilm would not be so scared and to give us the goods. Like that's what I think. That's what I wish would happen.
Right. And they can take their time. My opinion is they can take their time fleshing out something. I mean, you really can do an outline. You could do like Old Republic, the Rogue Squadron. We have an outline for what like landmarks we want to hit in these
Yeah.
films. Let's get someone to write a script, figure it out, and then get a director in there and make sure that they all have the same vision and plan it out with the story group. Hey, look, this is everything we want to do. It all has to work with everything else we're doing in
Yes.
canon,
Yes.
and have a mainline canon, and maybe have like the Elseworld type thing like DC does. and we can have a lot of fun with that. I mean, that could be like another. It's almost like having another stream of income for Lucasfilm, you know?
Right. It makes sense. I mean, look at what DC is doing right now. You know, James Gunn is now in charge of DC. He's the creative. He's the Kevin Feige of DC right now, but he is really smart in that he said, "I'm going to let Matt Reeves do what he's doing with the Batman. We're not even going to touch anything he's doing with the Batman. Just let him do that." And it works. And it's like that's what Lucasfilm needs to do, where they're like, okay, we have what we're creating here, but then we could also have these other stories on the side. And like David said, that's just free money for Lucasfilm, because people would be like, oh, you mean we're getting a whole TV show about the Old Republic? Does it tie into it? No, it doesn't, but it's about the Old Republic. And you go, oh, okay, I want to see the Knights of the Old Republic and then the Rogue Squadron, where yeah, you can kind of tie it in, but you could just have it be its own thing. And I think Lucasfilm is very scared of doing that, taking that risk of creating other projects that aren't in the Skywalker timeline, the canon. I think they're just afraid people would be like, I don't know, but it's like, do it. Just, I mean, is that new Dune show doing really well on HBO? I hear it's doing pretty great, but there are no characters from the movies, and everyone is loving it. So all I'm saying is, Lucasfilm, don't be so scared, please. give us some good stuff here. That's all we want. We just want the goods.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good that Dune show is doing. I watched the first episode, then I kind of stopped watching it.
Is it as good as the Penguin?
I mean, I think it's pretty good, but I mean, I don't think it's like the Penguin though. I think
the Penguin, nothing. They need to get whoever produced and directed and wrote the Penguin to do some Star Wars stuff, because.
And in 2024, the mandate was set by Bob Iger that we're going to concentrate more on films, theatrical releases, than we are on Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think, it was eventual that we go back to that. We're going to get Andor season 2 next year in 2025.
Yeah.
And of course, the story came out that Andor season 2 is the highest ever annual spend for a Star Wars production. That's including films and anything else. So yeah, they spent a ton of money, $645 million between season 1 and season 2.
Before we started recording, I should have said this. Forbes put out an article today saying how those numbers were not quite accurate with how much money was spent. It still spent a lot of money, but that number.
So was this higher or lower?
It's including a few other projects, I think, inside of that total. I think it's including costs for a few other things as well as Andor.
Yeah, that number just seemed kind of astronomical there.
Because you got to remember, I don't even think Avatar 2 cost that much money. You know what I mean? Like Avatar 2 was crazy. So I think those numbers are a little skewed, a little
inflated.
But yeah, looking forward, I guess we could look forward to 2025 as Andor season 2, which people are, it's becoming the best show for a lot of people. Like a lot of people who have watched it again are like, oh my gosh, this is just so great. This is so good. And there's a lot of hype around season 2 of Andor. And when is that dropping? Do you know the month?
Yeah, it's going to drop when Japan Celebration hits. The week of, I believe, the 7th and 10th after that.
Nice.
So yeah, we're thinking Japan Celebration will get the first 2 episodes, a lot like how they did with Kenobi and how they did with a little bit with the Mandalorian in London. So yeah, that's a little bit of look ahead, but I want to still stay in 2024.
I apologize.
So yeah, the mandate is out there that yes, Star Wars Lucasfilm is going to concentrate more on films and doing Disney Plus series. So of course we got The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew. The last live action series on the list is going to be Andor next year.
Yep.
We don't know what's going to happen after that. 2025, we're going to get a celebration in Japan in April. The announcements, what are they going to announce? I know we're going to talk about our theories, what we think or what we hope that they announce. But as of right now, it's all theater stuff in the upcoming future. But we did get 2 series in the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew that were supposed to drop before this year that they shot Skeleton Crew 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to get Skeleton Crew before the Acolyte. And I'm not quite sure what the reasoning was, but it seems like, yeah, they wanted to kind of clean up the effects for Skeleton Crew, because the effects right now for Skeleton Crew are terrific. Yeah. We just got an episode where we saw like dozens and dozens of creatures on screen. Yeah. And a lot of CGI elements out there.
Yeah, the visual effects are movie quality visual effects of Skeleton Crew. And it's astronomical how great that show looks. So yeah, I agree. I'm glad they took their time to really, really give it that look.
So the other stuff I think in 2024 that happened for us for the podcast was the fact that we got to go to Rebel Scum Con. We were invited to go out to, I believe it was Plano, which is North Texas. It's north of Dallas. Luckily, I have a brother that lives out there, so my lodging was free. I could stay at his house. But it was the first year of the convention. They had a few people out there that you're familiar with. Ahmed Best, I got to meet him for the first time out there. Misty Rosas was there. Tate Fletcher, who's been on the podcast, made an appearance. And it was interesting because when I got there, a lot of these people were just like in the lobby of the hotel talking to each other. And it's like, do I be a fan here? Do I just leave them alone? But I met some really cool guys in the lobby, and we talked Star Wars, and we kind of talked about some of the stuff we do for Star Wars on the side. And it was very interesting to see what they told me about their little group there. And they're like, yeah, we're a group for Star Wars, but we don't do any social media. We stay off the internet. I'm like, okay. Whoa. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I have never heard that before. And they gave me some patches, and I was able to kind of like figure out the lay of the convention center. I got there a day after day one because of just taking time off of work. But yeah, it was the first day, or the first time ever they had this Rebel Scum Con convention. It's going to move to a different site in 2025, but they are the first convention that gave us our own Star Stuff podcast booth. And I got to be out there. I got to do the Watto Chance Cube game. Had some stuff for people to win. Had a lot of light side, dark side Oreos. Had stickers. Had action figures. Some Black Series. I was gonna try and raffle off a lightsaber, but I ended up doing that at SpaceCon because there weren't like enough people. It turned out to be kind of like almost like a smaller type convention where I kept on seeing kind of the same people kind of come back around and that whole thing and kind of experience it. I mean, it wasn't super huge. I think it's going to get bigger, definitely because of all the names, but it was nice. The runners of the convention, really cool. And they extended a permanent invitation to Star Wars Stuff Podcast to be there every year with the booth. That's so awesome. James and Colin intend to come to Dallas the weekend of August 10th, which is my birthday.
Oh yeah!
So right. We'll be celebrating in North Texas there. But the real interesting thing for me personally, and for the podcast too, was the fact that I had not met a lot of these people that were Star Wars influencers that were also invited. And they just came up to me and just started talking to me like we had known each other. And as we were talking, I was like, did we meet? And I just don't remember. But I mean, I had the big Star Wars banner, Star Wars Stuff Podcast behind me. And I mean, we just talked and we went to dinner a couple times and it was a lot of fun. Star Wars Replicas, Gabe, who does all the Lucasfilm official stuff. You've probably seen his stuff on Instagram. I talked to him for a long time, and he told me a lot of interesting things. And the people that run Mosh Isley, the Princess and Scoundrel podcast, and they have an Instagram account too, they talked to me for a while. And they did a lot of stuff with the Halcyon too. And of course, the Halcyon has gone away. But they were really cool people. And I got to go to San Diego Comic-Con and go to Mosh Isley there. That was terrific. I knew that was going to be great. I knew I was going to have a really great time. And for some of the patrons that hung out with us at SpaceCon, they know about a certain video that Ted took of me that is not the best.
Wait, I haven't even seen this video. You didn't show me.
Okay, yeah, you weren't with us at SpaceCon,
Okay.
but so Ted and I made it to the front of Mos Eisley. Okay. And Bohemian Rhapsody came on.
Great song.
So Ted took out his cell phone, and I'm singing to the words.
Oh my god!
And with his iPhone 16 or whatever, it has like voice isolation. So he recorded me singing Bohemian Rhapsody, and you could hear my voice clearly. And it's like front and center. So when we got back to the hotel room in San Diego, he played it, and he just like died laughing because I can't sing. It was like I was in the car singing by myself. So he's like, so now Ted told some of our patrons at SpaceCon, he's like, anytime I feel down, I just turn this video on.
Release the David cut.
Ted. Oh my gosh.
Release it online. We want to see it. Everybody watching, demand to watch the
maybe we'll put it on Patreon.
David. Okay. All right. That sounds fair. We'll put that on Patreon.
And to me, I was like totally on key. And yeah, to me, I sounded great. But yeah, you watch the video, it's not good. It's really not good.
That's incredible, man.
So yeah, Rebel Scum Con was a hit. It was fantastic. There's another story that happened at Rebel Scum Con that I'm debating on whether to tell it here.
Well, if you're debating, I don't think you should tell. Uh-oh.
I don't know. This might get me in trouble.
All right. Well, in that case, no, let's not tell it.
But they'll never hear it, so I can talk about it. So, okay, like, who knows? Maybe one day they'll hear it. Maybe they'll have a laugh about it.
Here we go, everybody. Here we go.
To get to this specific section of the podcast to listen to this story, I don't think they're going to do that. But anyways, so like I said, I had to take time off of work to go and do Rebel Scum Con because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I didn't get to go Thursday. But what I did was, since I work from home, I took my work laptop to Rebel Scum Con. So the first day I was on the internet, I was doing work. And that day I did a lot of work. Okay. So I had people coming up to me, talking to me about the podcast and everything and doing the Chance Cube game. So I was doing my work and it was going great. It was going fantastic. I had an internet connection. It worked out great. It showed that I was working and I was doing a lot of work. And then I was like, oh yeah, I have a meeting with my boss. And so I had to juggle that with manning the booth because I was the only person there. And so the meeting time came and those guys that I met in the lobby came up to me and they started talking to me and I took the meeting and I had my boss on the phone.
Oh my gosh.
But see, here's the thing though. He thought I was in the office because he heard a lot of background chatter. So it all worked out.
Oh man.
So, I mean, it was okay that I did that. I mean, I'm not going to get in too much trouble, but it was okay because you can actually go places and still work. You just got to get your work done.
Yeah.
But I never told him that I left my house and he just assumed I was in the office. I think that's what he assumed. So I did my work that Friday because I couldn't get the day off because someone else took it or whatever.
Yeah.
And my team shrunk. So it was hard to get that day off. So yeah, it worked out. I did my work. Once 5 o'clock hit, I closed the laptop, continued on with the convention. And
I'm proud of you, David.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It all worked out. It all worked out, man. The space gods are with me. The force was with me.
The force is strong with you.
Yeah.
And then for me, I got to fly down to San Antonio to SpaceCon, and I surprised Colin and Zach, which was so much fun. And then yeah, it was so cool just sitting there and chilling, meeting people, talking to people. I got to see a little bit of the I almost said Anakin Skywalker, the Hayden Christensen and Rosario Dawson panel, and just the reception that they received from San Antonio was so great, and it was sold out. Like every seat in that house was filled, and it was so great. It was such a great experience to go to
So I
Space.
actually had a chair in front, and then Hayden Christensen's mom came out, and she needed a chair, so I gave my chair to her.
Oh, okay.
And then his daughter was there too, and we sat like kind of right behind him up in the front.
It was
awesome.
Wild. It was wild. I was like, this is crazy. But it was really good to be there and to see David. Of course, it's been a while since David and I hung out in person, and hope to do it again next year. That'd be fun. But that's
and Colin's reaction. Colin was dressed up as Chewbacca.
Yes,
like screen accurate Chewbacca, 7 foot tall. I sneak James in. As soon as he sees James, he does the Chewie roar because his mouth is hooked up to the roar, and it was just like laughing so much. He was hugging an elderly woman and wanted to like rip away, but she held on. She's about to ride Chewbacca through the convention
like a tauntaun. Yeah, it was. That was a great moment to surprise Colin, and we hung out with I got to hold the lightsaber, like the whole with Legion saber. I got to hold the the Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber. I just kept walking over there to Izzy and be like, hey man, can I just pick up this lightsaber really quickly, please? He's like, yeah, go over. And he was so nice to let me just pick up the lightsaber. And then there was one time when David and I were fighting with them, and that was a lot of fun. And Space Con was so much fun. That was so great.
Yeah, the thing with Legion sabers is it kind of, the germ of the idea came from me wanting to give away lightsabers.
Yeah.
And then I thought, why don't we just ask Legion Sabers to come down? Because we knew we were going to have a bigger booth than normal. And we contacted them, and they're like, yeah, we'll come down. We do conventions. And Colin had worked with them in the past. And we're like, yeah, send down, come down. We talked to the president. And in the end, he said he couldn't make it, but he could send someone down with some sabers. And that's what happened. And we met Izzy, and Izzy said, is it cool if my buddy hangs out with us too? We're like, yeah, sure. It's just one person. So his buddy ended up being someone who we're friends now with, which is Haley. Yes. And she'll probably be on the podcast in the new year. And she was real cool. She goes to a lot of conventions and loves Star Wars, and very cool new Star Wars family that we made there. And
that's what's so crazy about these conventions. You don't know who you're going to meet. And then out of nowhere, you're just like, oh my gosh, we're going to be friends for a long time now. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, there's no problem. And shout out to all the people that came up to our booth and said, hey, I listen to you guys. And us being who we are, I mean, we're just Star Wars fans. We're just like, really? Awesome. Thank you. James says, really?
Yeah, David's always like, oh, thank you. But I'm over here like, you really listen to us? That's crazy. But that goes back to the previous year at Superhero Comic Con, whenever Ted went on stage and said, we're over here with Star Wars Stuff Podcast. Who here listens to Star Wars Stuff Podcast? And so people started clapping, and David and I just look around like what? It was so funny. We were both just really confused, like, whoa, people clapped for us. But yeah, that Space Con was so great. And next year, of course, we're looking forward to that for next year. So that's going to be really nice.
Shout out to Becky, who approached us and was like, where's Colin and James at? She told that to me directly. I was like, Colin's getting undressed from his Chewbacca, and I think James went on the floor looking at booths. And she's like, when will they be back? And I'm like, I'm not sure. If you just swing back around later, you come back and they'll probably be here, and we can just all take a picture. And we did that. And she was like, yeah, I listen to you guys when I'm on my way to work.
That's so cool.
And then her friend was there, and she was like, yeah, she really does. And I was like,
she goes, oh,
that's a real listener right there. And then there was a few people too that rolled up and were like, hey, I listened to you. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you, man. And then they just disappear.
Yeah, we're like, wait, don't you want to get a picture with us?
It's like,
autograph? Like, I'm just kidding.
I was like, don't you want some free stuff on the table, or do you want to try spinning the wheel? I mean, and they're just like, hey, I listened to you.
I listened to you guys. Okay. And we're like, okay.
And also, I definitely want to mention one of our huge patron supporters, Darth Ace 1. He drove about 8 hours, I believe, to get to us, and we didn't really talk that long, but I was like, hey, anything on the table, you can take it, man. I mean, you deserve it for all the support over 2024.
I know we couldn't thank them enough. We thank them at the beginning of our show, but our patrons, thank you so much for your support. I mean, that helps us tremendously, and we love um giving like they get to see other things that y'all the regular audiences don't see. So it's a lot of fun to just get on there sometimes, just chat. And anyways, just want to throw that out there to thank our patrons for that.
Yeah, for sure, and definitely want to thank Tim Seitz, who's always on Facebook.
Oh my
He's
gosh,
our meme lord.
our meme lord. Man, he just constantly just hit after hit with his memes, and it's so great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Also Zach in Japan, he chimes in a lot with his opinions and stuff.
Oh yeah.
On Facebook, and I think he's really looking forward to meet us in Japan. Also Mariana, she said she's going to be in Japan for Celebration. Hopefully, we all get to meet each other. Yeah, in Japan, it's going to be wild. As of right now, I think I'm the only one set to go to Japan currently.
Well, patrons, if you want to help us out a little more, you can. If you want to get me over to Japan, that'd be great.
Get James to Japan.
Or listeners, if you want to help us out, that'd be really cool. I got my passport, so we're all good, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And it is shocking how many people are going to Japan. Because I don't know, with Europe, everybody was like, I don't know about Europe, but with Japan, everybody's like, I'm going to Japan. And it's like, oh, okay, let's all just go.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Hopefully I go. But what else happened in 2024 with Star Wars? Oh, we celebrated our 6-year podcast anniversary.
Yep.
If that's a way to say it. So yeah, we've been going for 6 years, and it's so wild. It's really crazy that we've kept this thing going. It's grown and it shrank, but then it grew again. So yeah, here we are again as a podcast. And
to speak to that, our numbers, our listener base has grown. Yes. Spotify has reported to us. So yeah, we keep on getting bigger, larger. More people listen to us. Thanks to everyone out there. Word of mouth helps a lot. Submitting your reviews. Colin sent me something really interesting the other day, which I probably shouldn't say specifically what it is.
I'm a little nervous now. What did he send you?
So our rating on, I believe, Apple is one of the better ratings for podcasts. And we definitely have seen all the comments on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We had a few podcasts where our audio wasn't that great. We figured all that out. We switched to XLR mics, thanks to everyone on Patreon and the revenue we get from Spotify. And we were able to do that. We upgraded our mics because before we were using Yeti X's, and James actually just went ahead and upgraded himself, and he sounded great all the time. Yeah, there's a Yeti.
Which,
James has a podcast on the side there.
Well, no, this is for my my meetings. If I ever have we meet with people,
okay.
Production, this is what I use because this is my podcast microphone.
Yeah,
but yeah, sorry, but it is kind of crazy to know like people are. I don't know, just people are still listening to us, still watching us after 6 years. Darth Beard in the house. I was wondering when Darth Beard was going to show up because no one was here. And I was like, where's Darth Beard at? Come on. You're leaving me hanging over here. But
yeah, he's one of the more entertaining Patreon members we have.
But it is oh geez. Yeah. Go back to sleep or go do stuff. It's 5 a.m. But to know that David and I just started off just the two of us, and we were so like, oh my gosh, is this even going to go anywhere? The first time we got to see like the specs, we were like, man, someone in like, I think what was it? It was Scotland or Ireland was listening to us, and we were just like, that's wild. Our voices are places we've never even been before, and it was one of those things.
Never go to.
Yeah, I'll never. Yeah, hopefully. But it was really interesting to know, like, each week we would meet up and we would record an episode, and then it was like, okay, and then it just became just what we do now, and it's so much fun. And it's one of those things where David and I and Colin will text each other. I think we text almost every day about something with Star Wars, something with the podcast, and as he said, our ratings are pretty good. We're not trying to brag, but it's pretty nice. But I think one of the things that makes us different from a lot of podcasts is that we are just fans who love Star Wars. We watch everything, and we love it all. I mean, we don't there are things we had issues with, but in the end, we don't badmouth other people. We don't attack people for liking something we don't like in Star Wars, or attacking what they like. You know what I mean? So I think that's what I love about this and talking with David about Star Wars, because I know that David doesn't judge me harshly for liking The Last Jedi. And I don't judge David harshly for not liking The Last Jedi. So we kind of I'm just joking. But yeah, I think that's what makes our podcast good. I don't want to brag, but I think that's what I like about this, about our little community we have here.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, we're genuine about our opinions and the news we report. I mean, we only try and find sources that we 100% trust. Yeah. There's a few of them out there that you can really trust, and I know we always want to give that caveat, like when Jeff Snyder dropped stuff, which he dropped another big one the other day, that Mando season 4 might actually be a thing.
Yeah.
Which it's like, why not? It's like, come on. It's like everyone loves Grogu. Everyone is familiar with The Mandalorian. It's a successful show, successful part of Lucasfilm now. It's like, just keep on going, man. And you don't need Pedro on set. We all know that. So,
which is still shocking. Like how, like later on we found out, like, oh, he is really not on set at all. What's that one? I forgot what his name was. He was there at Superhero Comic Con, and he was talking about Mando being in the suit, and he's like telling us stuff from season 1 and season 2, and I was like, good grief, he's in the suit a lot too, and that was weird. That was when David and I were like, oh man, I don't think Pedro's hardly ever on set. So because that actor was saying, oh yeah, in the first season I did this, and in the second season I did this, and I was like, oh wow.
Because the ones I can name are Lateef Crowder, who does most of the martial arts work.
Yeah.
Brendan Wayne, who does most of the kind of like everything outside of that. And then there's a stunt guy, Barry Lowen.
Yeah,
who was there at Superhero Comic-Con in San Antonio. He's now a news broadcaster in Florida.
Good for him.
I'm not sure if he's like out of the business or what, but yeah, very interesting what you can learn about Star Wars, especially due to the internet and then all these other different websites. And yeah, No Richard on YouTube says it's been great watching the pod grow over the years, boys. Y'all are definitely great ambassadors for the Star Wars brand. Thank you so much, Noah. And thank you so much, Noah, for dropping in comments like that, contributing to the podcast. We want people to comment on the podcast and talk about and share your opinions, share your thoughts, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Because we listen. Like I said, with audio thing, we got brand new mics. We try to figure out as best we can what to do, and I think we kind of solved most of it. Sometimes when we have guests, of course they don't have like the top tier mic, so it's still sometimes kind of difficult. And we know we got the word that Craig is usually hard to understand, but we got him his situation worked out, so in the new year he should be pretty crystal clear. So
and Craig,
that should be really good. And shout out to him. He's on vacation with his family right now.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, I can't make it for the next 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew, but after that he can make it.
All I know is we had great deep dish pizza with him.
I didn't even think that pizza was that good.
I liked it.
You liked it?
It was just the fact that I felt bad for all the fellow patrons at this Chicago deep dish diner, because we were just so loud and we were laughing so hard. And
oh man,
those
are the best though, James.
Was
when
it
have the big group
Michael
together?
Was there too, right? Was it? It was
no.
Craig,
I think it was just me, you, Joseph on one side, and then Craig, his brother, and someone else.
Somebody, yeah. And I just remember we were laughing, and I was like, man, I think we're gonna get kicked out of this place. But no, everybody was okay. Well, thank you very much. So Bob Rules on YouTube said, I remember finding this podcast on Spotify, listening ever since. And it is
thank you so much for the listens.
I feel bad if you ever go back and watch it from the beginning or listen from the beginning. We didn't know what we were doing, so just listen now. Don't worry
No,
about going
James is
back.
lying. We totally knew what we were doing.
Oh yeah, we were
Day one.
Yeah, we were professional. Oh, my hair looks
6
terrible.
years ago.
Sorry. Yeah, we
We're gonna
knew.
hit 7 years, James, podcasting next year.
It'll be 7 years in March, and we have a little anniversary because we took a picture the first day we recorded. So I always know when that anniversary comes up because we recorded it, but we didn't release it for like another, I think, 2 or 3 days afterward.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we've been doing this. And like you said, 7 years, and then we're 3 away from 10, and then there we are. So that's wild. And we've met so many great people because of this little podcast, and it's so cool. It's so great.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, looking ahead to 2025, we're gonna have Star Wars Celebration in Japan. We're gonna have Andor season 2, which apparently they've spent an incredibly large amount of money on. Which, in my opinion, they should, because that's something that everyone's anticipating. We're waiting on some huge things to maybe appear, maybe like Vader, Tarkin.
Oof.
And we know Ben Mendelsohn showing a backup, K2SO.
The great Ben Mendelsohn, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I just realized that he was, I never thought about this, but he was in the movie with Nicolas Cage, Knowing.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I
saw like a clip of it. I was like, wait a minute, that's Ben Mendelsohn.
The first time I saw him, and then he did another movie called Animal Kingdom, which was based in Australia, where he's from, and he was very good in that movie. And I was like, oh, this guy is someone to look for in the future. And now he's one of the best.
Yeah, he was in The Dark Knight too, when he kind of got prominent for me. Darth Beard on YouTube says, I'm shooting. I've been listening for about 2 years, finally starting watching on YouTube when work changed, so I was awake when you're on. No, now I'm a Patreon member and hope I'm helping. Yes, you're helping a lot.
Yes, you
Darth
are.
Beard. You have no idea how much you're helping. The thing we didn't mention for 2024, we finally got the ghosts plural from HasLab. So we did a drawing a year ago in 2023. And one of our former Patreon members, Nathan Shank, won, who has won other stuff from us before. But yeah, Colin just blindly drew his name. I'm so glad he won it. Yeah. And I'm going to have to ship that thing to him. It's like 50 pounds. The huge. Shipping is going to be like an incredible amount of money.
Before we go on, hold on. Crystal Kyber just has joined us in the chat. Yo, David and James. She said, let's go. Please go follow her on Instagram. Look up her YouTube channel. She puts out amazing Star Wars content. And I've been very fortunate enough to work with her on set here in LA. And she's a huge Star Wars fan. And we get in trouble on set because we end up talking about Star Wars a little too much. And people go like, shh, quiet. And we're like, oh, sorry. Or we're trying to leave, but her and I are just standing there talking about Star Wars. So yeah, go look her up on Instagram, YouTube, and she has a brand called Bad Feeling, which is great. And quick everyone in the chat like
that's hilarious.
She said, oh my god, we get yelled at. Yeah, we do, and we really do. And it's one of those things where I always say I don't want to talk to Crystal yet because I'm busy doing something, but then we always end up finding each other, and then we just start talking, and before I know it, I'm like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta hurry up and leave. But yeah, she's the best. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah, so hopefully, and her and I keep saying we're gonna collaborate, and we haven't yet, even though she lives, I think maybe like 25 minutes away from me right now. But
you can actually look at her place.
I think she's downtown LA. I'm
okay.
I'm up in Hollywood, so but she's over here. James avoids me, and he's the first person I look for. Yeah, like I said, because I avoid her because I know I'm going to be in big trouble talking to her. So, like I said, everybody go find her, go watch her stuff, go find her on Instagram. She's great.
Yeah, she does a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Good, yeah, and then she's even gotten some Lucasfilm recognition as well. So that's so awesome for her. I'm so happy for her for doing that. And she had a panel at LA Comic-Con. She was helping out with the Rebels panel, and I was really sad I couldn't go to that, but hopefully next year I can meet you there. So
yeah, and I'll crash at James's place and we'll go together.
Totally, dude. Not even like that's where you would be sleeping right there behind me. So,
James
but
is gonna go live, and I'm gonna be snoring on the couch.
but looking forward to 2025. Obviously, a collaboration with Crystal. But Andor is going to be a big deal, and I think that's what I'm just really looking forward to is Andor season 2 to see how they're going to pull that one off. Oh, Crystal already says Star Wars podcast at LA Comic Con 2025.
When is LA Comic Con happening?
Um, I don't know.
Is it
I
gonna be
think
like
it's
October-ish?
and I think it's September because I remember
Okay.
it happened because we were getting ready for Space Con. It was kind of took over, or maybe it was at the end of September. I just remember it was around Space Con, and I was like, I can't
Yeah.
do both. But yeah, also yeah, looking forward to what else? What else is happening in 2025 that we are aware of, David?
That we kind of are looking forward to. Like I said, Japan Celebration and/or Season 2, Visions, Season
Oh
3,
yes,
and of
those are
course,
going to
we're
be wonderful.
all anticipating because we don't know a lot for the future. Of course, there's video games that have been talked about. The Jedi series, the Jedi Fallen Order. I know you don't want to call it that, but the Cal Kestis video games.
There we go.
But I wanted to talk to you about this. What do you think that they're going to announce in Japan
Oh,
for a live action animation video game?
it's really up in the air because of how it like I said, it feels like Lucasfilm is scared of like things and announcing things. And I think they've realized announcing a lot of things and not delivering is kind of losing a lot of trust with them, even though we know why that happened. But I think a lot of the audiences are a little upset that Lucasfilm promised us so much and hasn't delivered. So it's I'm really unsure what they could announce for Celebration 2025. Um, I mean, season 2 of Ahsoka definitely happening. I mean, the release date of Ahsoka season 2 would be nice
Oh,
to
yeah, we'll
hear,
get footage of Ahsoka season
and,
2,
of course,
footage of
maybe
Andor.
maybe even a teaser of Mando season the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is
Yeah,
something they might announce or they might show. Um, and honestly, probably announce season 2 of Skeleton Crew, uh, based off of how great the first season's probably gonna be. We're all anticipating it's gonna end
hmm,
very well. Um, but one thing I'm unsure of is the Daisy Ridley movie. That one is, like I want
yeah.
it to happen so bad, but I'm just afraid that that one's slowly gonna disappear. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so what we've been told, and I think what we've perceived, is the fact that the writing didn't get finished on time, and that to me that's a funny type of excuse because it's like, why can't you just find another writer to do this? I mean, I think there's a lot of writers chomping at the bit to write a Star Wars
Yeah.
thing, but I don't know how particular they are in finding a writer for Star Wars stuff. Um, it's odd to me. I would love to see Daisy Ridley back in a great film. Bring Finn back too. Have Finn
Oh, that'd be
the
so
Jedi
great.
Master. Um, we all know the whole Damon Lindelof thing where he wanted to put it like way into the future and have like Helen Mirren play Rey. Um, but it's just what's the story with that situation? Are we ever going to get that film? Are they going to just
Yeah.
bypass it and do something else? One could maybe argue that Lucasfilm is looking at the reactions of fans, maybe finally, and seeing like kind of what we've been asking for. It seems like they're slowly getting to that stuff, like the Darth Plagueis stuff, the incorporation of him. Um, they had that big timeline in London where they had
Yeah.
the Old Republic at the end, the Dawn of the Jedi, um, and just giving stuff that putting stuff out there that I think the fans have been asking for. I don't think so much the fans have been asking for a Dawn of the Jedi movie per se, because I mean, there's so many things in front of that I think we want before we get there. But of course, James Mangold is tied to it. Um, But my question is, are there going to be lightsabers? I mean, what are we going to see? Is it just going to be like people doing this, like using the Force?
I trust Mangold to deliver something really great. He's had, of course, he's probably going to get nominated for an Oscar this year for A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie. So he knows what he's doing, and I think he's going to deliver with that movie. But yeah, you're right. We want other things before that, so it's just really crazy that we're gonna get that.
Yeah, Crystal on YouTube says, crossing my fingers for some news at Celebration. I feel like we're going to get some really huge news at Celebration because we've been in the dark for a little while. And there's a lot of rumors out there. And more than just rumors, I think that Dave Filoni is going to do something else. I'm not sure if it's live action animation. There's also a big rumor of another animated thing, another big animated thing that's going to drop along the lines of Rebels, Bad Batch. So another really big animated show.
The only thing I want is the post Return of the Jedi cartoon with Han Solo, Princess, Leia Organa, and Luke Skywalker, like that.
Yeah,
that would just, or we get we get Rey and Finn and all them after everything, and that would be something cool. But yeah, the fact that Dave Filoni could possibly give us a brand new thing is intriguing, and I don't know. It could be any number of things. Yeah. Aggressively Relaxing on YouTube said, Rey movie has so much to tie together. I don't mind them taking their time. I waited like 30 years for Boba to climb out of that hole. That's true. We did wait a while for Boba to climb out. And yeah, what else do you think they're going to announce at Celebration?
I think we're going to finally get. Maybe I shouldn't say I think. I'm hoping we're finally going to get some Old Republic type stuff. I know someone out here, I know Richer actually said, aren't they supposed to drop the KOTOR remake for Knights of the Old Republic in 2025? Okay. So yeah, that was announced and then it was dropped to remake that video game, but
yeah,
do it in live action. And we all know that they got Keanu Reeves to take a look at playing Soul in The Acolyte, and he passed on it. And he said, well, I'll pass on this, but I'll do something in the future. So hopefully we get Keanu to play Revan. Keanu will be in the Star Wars family. Keanu will be doing more cons, which he doesn't really need to, but it'd be great to have him in the family.
Noah says, if they really want to start pushing out some Old Republic related content, an animated show would be a great starting point. That would be insane if Dave Filoni comes out and says, I'm going to be doing a series called Knights of the Old Republic. And it's 7 seasons, that animation we've all come to love with Star Wars. That I think would be something big. I think people would be just begging for that.
I think there's a probability that happens, Noah. I do like that thought, but I would really love to have that in live action.
I don't know. That's a lot of money, man.
Well, they just spent $300 million on Andor.
I know, but I think that's gonna
do a trilogy. Just embark on the trilogy. Be like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We've mapped it out. We didn't talk about this, but we mapped it all out. All the way back in 2022 to 2025, we were talking about it. No one knew about it. Didn't leak. But we're going to drop it. That's going to be the 2027 film. We're going to start it off.
That is wild. You're talking crazy over here, man.
We're almost in 2025, bro.
Countdown City says Knights of the Old Republic announcement or bust. We'll see. That would be big just to hear if the Knights of the Old Republic is going to be explored more in Star Wars. That would be, I think a lot of people would be on board for that.
Yeah, I think it would make a lot of money. A lot of money.
More money than Grogu being on a poster of a movie. Yeah, just his face on a poster is gonna make millions of dollars.
Oh my
Probably
gosh.
billions.
With the frog hanging out of his mouth.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't believe we didn't talk about this, James. Oops. So yeah, Countdown City Geeks on Facebook says new Hayden involved project seems like he has all the momentum now and that they should cash in on it. So yeah, we got some info from a person out there.
Yes, I can't say
that Hayden was seen talking to his agent about doing something with Lucasfilm outside of what he's already done. The Vader series is right there, man.
It's right there.
Now they're concentrating on film. A Vader film would be fantastic. It could basically be Obi-Wan season 2, but as a film, and you can have Ewan McGregor still there. They never meet. It's 2 separate storylines, but they'll always be tied together, and we can get kind of that continuation and maybe flashbacks of the Clone Wars. Man, do you realize that how much they can do that will satisfy Star Wars fans?
I agree.
Do Clone Wars flashbacks from like battles that we never saw before in animation. We can see Duchess Satine in live action, like kind of iron out all that whole like love story that Obi-Wan had. Find out the true parentage of Corky. You know, is he or isn't he the son of Obi-Wan Kenobi? I mean, there's so much they could do, man, that would totally be just the best on the silver screen.
Oh yeah. It's crazy to think like how much money a movie called Vader would make. No, and then you tell everybody Hayden Christensen is back.
Starring Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor. Yes. They need to have all the people online. How can Obi-Wan Kenobi be in this thing? This is ridiculous.
And I think people are going to complain about something. Bring back Natalie Portman. I mean, those 3 in a Star Wars movie called Vader is $1 billion for Star Wars. Like that is literally $1 billion. And you throw in, hey, we're also gonna have Rosario Dawson in. She's gonna play. We might do like a flash forward with Ahsoka, or I forgot her name, the one who played the young Ahsoka.
Ariana Greenblatt.
Yeah, she's gonna be in there for the flashback.
Frank Oz as Yoda.
And like we're gonna bring back Samuel L. Jackson. We're gonna DH him to play Mace Windu. That's $1 billion for Lucasfilm right there if they announce that.
Yeah,
and it's like, give it to us, please, because that would be just the best. That'd be just the coolest movie ever, and it's just Vader unleashed, pretty much. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I think Lucasfilm should be listening to our podcast. So they were on the other day.
Well, apparently they are.
Yeah, Star Wars jumped on our YouTube the other day. So
yeah,
please, no, just
please send us something.
Send us
some invites to the Andor season 2 red carpet.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Which is gonna be right down the road for me. So,
oh my gosh, and you just stay at your place, man. It all works out.
It's so crowded down there, dude. You don't want to go. You do not.
We just walk. We just walk from your place.
You don't want to walk down Hollywood Boulevard, man. I promise. It is scary. I've done it once. Walking from the Pantages home, it was very scary.
So I know Ted is watching on Cat Density Geeks. He walked me through downtown San Diego. It was terrifying, bro.
No.
It was terrifying. I was like, why is Ted walking me through this area?
Why is he holding my hand and telling me it's going to be okay, David?
Ted? Where did Ted go? I was like, yeah, Ted, we might not want to walk 10 blocks to the next like block party for Comic-Con.
yeah, that's... Ugh.
I was like, yeah, we can stay in like the Gaslight district here.
One thing I'm looking forward to for 2025.
Or Gaslight. I said Gaslight.
You did say Gaslight. I was like, I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, but Freudian slip there.
Is hopefully going to San Diego Comic-Con and visiting you and Ted. That would be a lot of fun.
Here's what Ted said.
We had lightsabers on us. We were fine. Well, good. I'm glad y'all were safe. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to possibly going to a few conventions with you, David and Ted, and just meeting people, just having fun, and just being a part of that community is so much fun.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, almost indescribable feeling to go to these conventions now, having a podcast like we do, and like seeing old friends, making new friends, seeing these celebrities close up. It's like sometimes I've told Ted this before. It's like I felt like I died, and I was like I came back, and this new reality kind of opened up where I could touch all these people now. Shout out to Ted, who took me to San Diego Comic-Con. I high-five Robert Downey Jr.
That's
fist
awesome.
bump Keanu Reeves.
Fell in love.
And then later on, took a picture with Elijah Wood. But yeah, I mean, it was an incredible year, man. I didn't think anything was going to top London from 2023, but 2024, professionally, personally, did top last year. Just an incredible year. And so much stuff happened that I don't think my brain has been able to process because we have so much other stuff in line to do coming up in 2025 as well. And then, of course, work and then family and holidays. And it's a lot, man. I never thought my life would be like this. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's going on. Ted says there were snipers on every corner, completely safe. There's a whole SWAT team out there. And Ted turns to me and goes, David, that's not a traditional thing at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm like, okay, so Ted, what do we do? Should we still approach the convention center, or what's going on? He's like, no, we're still going to go to Hall H.
Like, oh,
I'm okay. Like, they brought the canines out, Ted. Should we be worried? And then I was thinking, well, the Penguin mobile experience is right there. I don't know if that's part of it. I don't know. Those guns look mighty real. So, but yeah, 2024 was unbelievable. I mean, the words that I get to speak to people about 2024 are just insane. The sentences that I get to repeat. And the proof I get to show them too on the phone. Like, hey, look, I was there. Look.
Yeah.
I'm right there.
I'm so jealous.
So the funny thing too is I always watch the Graham Norton show. That's one of my favorite
he's
column chat shows in England, of course, and he's based out of London. And I was on the Graham Norton show. There was a guy who was on Hall H. They took they had used a picture of him from Hall H on the stage, and I'm like in the picture in the press pit. And I was like, oh my gosh, I made it on the Graham Norton show.
That's you, man.
Yeah, I took a picture and everything. I'll send it to you. I don't think I've told you about it.
Yeah, you haven't told me about that. That's amazing.
Yeah. It happened, man. So I think it was one of the actors from one of the Star Trek series, I believe. I don't know. I can't remember. I was just freaked out. But yeah, lots to look forward to in 2025. And thank you so much out there, everyone listening, supporting us on Patreon. Sending us comments, messages, emailing us, telling us what you're doing while you're listening to the podcast. That's always great to hear. We've gotten stories about single dads listening to us while they're washing the dishes, getting dinner ready, people like mowing lawns, riding the subway, riding bikes, commuting to work. It's always so cool to hear that people, like how people listen, when they listen, and the medium of podcasting is so awesome because you don't have to listen to it when it comes out immediately. You can save it for later. A lot of people do that. We've had a crazy release schedule this year. Hopefully it gets more consistent, but it's a fun ride, guys, and getting to talk about Star Wars and getting to meet up with friends is always great. And like I said, making new friends. We think we made a pretty nice friend that will be on the podcast in the future. And I think she has a lot to say about Star Wars. And here's looking to the future. And a couple of our hosts are having kids in 2025.
That's wild.
Colin and Zach. So
Zach?
What did you know about Zach? Okay, so here's the story with Zach. So Zach, I hope this is okay to announce, but
oh man,
Zach. So Zach came down to San Antonio Space Con. He was here. He knew that his wife was pregnant. He said the next person that he told was Hayden Christensen at the photo op, and he showed him the sonogram.
And he's like, I'm going to name him Hayden Christensen. I'm just kidding.
I think that's what he's doing.
That's insane. Well, congratulations to Zach and for
He was also one of originally he was a Patreon member as well.
Yeah,
and he still contributes. And we have a Purple Heart. May the force be with you from Haley Barr. Oh, my bad, Haley. She doesn't want me to say her last name.
Well, there you go, Haley.
Yeah. So we'll have Haley on in the new year for sure, and it'll be a lot of fun.
I agree.
So, for James, my name is David, and may the force be with you
always.
And Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.